What's up, everybody? I'm Hillbilly Dude. I'm gonna do something a little different today. Usually I do kind of outdoorsy videos, but today I want to talk about a book, actually a few books. So there's gonna be some more videos. But this particular video is about this book here. I read this past summer, and I really enjoyed it. If you are a Johnny Cash fan, and especially if you're a Christian too, then this book will be for you. If not, I'd still recommend reading it. Because there's a lot of cool stuff to, one, it's just a cool story of his life, and two, there's a lot of relatable material in this book about his life, the author's life, and what you can relate to your life. But if that's not interesting to you, then, you know, please don't be a jerk about it. Anyways, so this is basically a story about Johnny Cash's life and his faith, and how it kind of progressed, how he kind of walked in faith and fell away from faith at times. It's called Johnny Cash, The Redemption of an American Icon, and it's written by Laurie and with Marshall Terrell. There's a little bit of info here in the back about Laurie. He's a senior pastor at Harvest Christian Fellowship in Riverside, California. He's got a pretty good resume in ministry work. He's wrote books. He's a featured speaker on a radio program. So the guy has some credentials, but he did an excellent job writing this book. Now, I personally am a huge Johnny Cash fan. I always have been, so I'm obviously biased towards anything Johnny Cash related. So basically, this book is a little over 300 pages. It walks you through, in chronological order, Johnny Cash's life. It's basically a giant timeline, and the author also compares things from his life to what was going on in Johnny Cash's life at that particular point in the timeline. It's got a lot of great content, a lot of relatable stories, and honestly, it's kind of, especially for a Johnny Cash fan like me, I would say it's safe to say that my life has been significantly influenced by the work and just even the personal life of Johnny Cash. I've researched him, I've read pretty much anything that has to do with him, watched anything that has to do with him. It's not all good. There's some bad out there, and this book covers that. That's part of having faith as a Christian, recognizing that you've made mistakes and you're going to probably make some more, you know. And this book really highlights a lot of that, especially it goes from everything from growing up poor as a cotton farmer, you know, his early childhood in Arkansas, and then he goes into the service. It talks about his early years in the music industry, all the rough and wild bad things, the drugs, sex, rock and roll. It's all there. It talks about a lot of the mistakes he's made, and it has a lot of personal quotes from Johnny too, you know, acknowledging the mistakes that he's made and what he's learned from them, and how his faith grew as he came out of that dark point of his life. He beat his addiction, he had relapses, he had affairs on his wife. He had a lot of stuff going on, and you also get a lot of cool information from the people who were around him. So it's not just one man's point of view. There's a lot of stuff in here from Marshall Grant, Luther Perkins, you know, his band members in his early years, his family, his friends, his son. You get all of that in here. It's just jam-packed full of cool information. It even talks about, which is going to lead me to my second book, which this will be a different video. I'll go over this too. But this is a novel that was written by Johnny Cash. And what pointed me towards reading that one was talking about it in here. You know, once he came through the rough years of his life, beating his addiction to amphetamines and a bunch of other stuff, and kind of the low point of his life and his career, he earned his associates in theology from the Christian International College in Phoenix, Arizona. And it talks about that here. I mean, he really grew in his faith once he came out of the dark point of his life. And so even to the point that he studied and earned his associates in theology, and then he was driven to write a novel about the Apostle Paul because he felt such a connection. If you don't know about the Apostle Paul, he was severely persecuted for his faith, and he wrote about half of the books in the New Testament. So anyways, he grew so much in his faith that he felt driven to write a novel about the Apostle Paul. But yeah, and then it goes on to talk about the later years of his life, and arguably the last few years of his life were the most influential to a lot of people. He did a lot of stuff. He toured with Billy Graham. He made some incredible albums in the last few years of his life, and it's all in here, all the way up to his death. It's something that I got a lot of enjoyment out of reading. I paid $25 for it at Books A Million. This is the hardback version. You can probably find it cheaper online, but if you're a Johnny Cash fan, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it.